Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to get up and running with RetroArch on PC. Let's get started. And if you're wondering what RetroArch is, in a nutshell, it is a one-stop shop for all of your emulation needs on PC. So this makes it incredibly easy to play emulated games on PC. It's just one program and you're off to the races. The first step is to head over to RetroArch.com, and I'll leave a link to all of this in the description below. When you're here, there's two places you can go. You can either go to download or go to Get RetroArch. Clicking either of those links will bring you to this RetroArch downloads page. Now, downloading RetroArch is 100% free. There is no charge. It's a free program. There's a list of supported platforms. All you have to do here is select the operating system that you have. For the purposes of this video, I'm running Windows 10 and a 64-bit version of it. So I'm going to download the 64-bit installer for Windows 10. So once you open the installer, it says here, welcome to RetroArch 1.7.6 setup. I will note, if you are watching this video maybe 6 months down the road from when I originally posted it, it may be a later version. If anything has changed in this setup, I will post an updated version video to let you know. So from here, I'm going to click Next. And I am accepting the terms of the license agreement, and then I'm specifying where I want RetroArch to be installed. You can change this if you feel like it. Now, some of you may run into issues with RetroArch and trying to get it to run, so I'd probably just recommend clicking DirectX 9.0C runtime just to make sure it installs with it. So you can see installing package 517 megabytes. This program keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I would say, with using this version of RetroArch, with your ROMs, with the cores, which I'll explain later, that you will need to download, you're probably looking at least a gigabyte of space for your setup. And if you did click the Install Microsoft DirectX, you will see a little pop-up window for it right here. Welcome to Setup for DirectX. So you can just go ahead and install that. I will say there is a checkbox right here that says install the Bing bar. I'm going to uncheck that. If you want to install the Bing bar, that's up to you, but I am not a fan of that software at all, and I do not want it on my computer, so I'm not going to install it. So at this point, I can now run RetroArch 1.7.6. So I'll click Finish. I've got the checkbox, so it automatically launches here. Alright, so I have RetroArch running at full screen here. The first thing that I would like to say about RetroArch is use your keyboard. Use the arrow keys to navigate the menu. Use the Enter key to select from the menu. Use your backspace key to go back in a menu. And use the Shift key to bring up a help menu. Once you're familiar with RetroArch, you can go into things like drivers, video, audio input, latency, and really take a look at a lot of the options. I don't recommend doing it for your first crack at RetroArch, as the main goal right now is just to get the games to run. So the first step really is to go to load core. Now, what a core is, in a nutshell, it's basically the guts, the system that you want to run with your game. There are different cores and different versions of the system out there that you can try out. For example, we'll select load core. It says no items, so we're going to go to download a core. It takes a little bit to load this index for the first time because there are a lot of cores out there for a lot of systems, but hold tight and it shouldn't take too long. So it downloaded the list of cores here, and from this list you can see all the different systems that RetroArch can power. For example, there is arcade, there's a 3D engine, there's Atari, we can keep scrolling down, Commodore, DOS. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to download a SNES core and an NES core to show you how they work. Now, just looking at this list, you can see there are a ton of different cores to choose from for the Super Nintendo. Each core does something slightly different. Some are more accurate to the real SNES, some are more performance-based for lower-end systems. The only way to tell which core will work best on your computer is to download it and try it out. Cores are absolutely free, so download one. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, try another one. So I'm going to head down into BSNES Performance, because I know that works well on my computer. All I have to do is click enter on it. It says extracting, and now it's done. That's how quickly it takes to install a core on your computer. Now I'm going to head up into just regular Nintendo, and I'm going to click on Mezen. So I'll hit enter here. And again, I highly recommend using a keyboard and not the mouse, as one misclick here will download a core that you're really not looking for. So now I'll hit backspace to get out of here. If I head over into scan directory, in this area I can scan the directory where my ROMs are in order to populate them. If you do this step of scanning the directory for your games before you have a core installed, it will not pick up the games. RetroArch needs a core to associate the games to. So I would recommend downloading all the cores for the systems that you plan on emulating and then scanning the directory. Now obviously wherever the ROMs are stored will vary based on the computer. For example, mine are in programs, ROMs, and stream. Wherever you've put your ROMs, you can just select the whole file and it should sort it automatically for you. To exit out of here, just hit the backspace a bunch of times till you're at the main menu. And now I'm at the main menu, and you can see the NES controller and the SNES controller. So it did scan my games. There are 2 games here populated for NES, and I've got 3 populated for SNES. So I'm going to click on DuckTales here. It gives me a few options. I'm going to click Run, and then it gives me the option to select the core that I downloaded. For example, here is Nintendo NES Mezen. So I have the game up and running here. In the top left of my screen, you can see different menus that do different things. For example, audio options, audio mute toggle. I can do a reset, save state options. If you want a more detailed menu, press F1, and that'll bring up this menu here. Now some of the menu options when you press F1 will vary based on the core that you're using. Some cores have more options than others, some have less. So if you are running a core and it's not having the option you're looking for, you can try using a different core. But in this menu, there are a few important things to consider. For example, if you are recording, you can record or stream. There are on-screen overlay options. You can rewind your game, which is really handy. And you can go to controls. So controls, I'd probably recommend using. Going down, you can map the controls on your controller or keyboard. The options menu houses the options that are specific, usually specific to the core that you're using. So each core will have slightly different options here and things you can do. I can go into palette, for example. I can say Composite Direct, NES Classic, Nestopia. So I'm going to go to Nestopia and see how that changes my game. And now you can see that it is a little bit brighter, a little bit clearer than it previously was. So I can hit F1 again, change the palette to something else. For example, maybe unsaturated, and take a look at it here. And you can see it's a little darker than what it was before. But honestly, if you're new to RetroArch and new to configuring things, I probably just recommend leaving everything as is. There are a lot of tweaks that RetroArch can do, and it does take some time to learn what works and what doesn't. And there's a lot of trial and error involved. So if you don't have the patience or just don't feel like doing anything, you don't have to. You can keep everything stock and you're good to go. And just like that, I am off to the races. So my game is up and running here. Everything looks good. And that's basically how you start RetroArch. There are more advanced options, and I'll be doing more videos to go into more detail about different settings you can do with RetroArch. But really, if you're looking just to get up and going, all you have to do is load RetroArch, download a core, make sure your game directory is scanned, and you're pretty much off to the races. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned as I'll be doing more videos like this in the RetroArch series. Thank you, everyone. Take care.